desolation. And he was an Elkoshite, from the city of Elkosh. His prophecy was against Nineveh and its destruction, and it would have been a great comfort to Judah. Nineveh was the capital of Assyria, a nation dreaded by many in the ancient world, and they were the enemy of both the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. This book of Nahum supplements the book of Jonah, because over 100 years earlier, God had sent his prophet to preach to the Ninevites, and the entire city, from the king on down, repented. But by the time of Nahum, they had reverted to their old ways, and unlike the time of Jonah, God would not stay his hand, but he would judge them for their wickedness and their tyranny. The Assyrians were some of the most vilest and cruelest people in the ancient world. They would cut off the heads of their victims and burn the bodies of the young men and maidens. They flayed the skins of many of their enemies and hung them on the city walls. One of their kings boasted of mutilating the bodies of live captives and stacking their corpses in piles. Sennacherib wrote of his enemies, "I cut their throat like lambs. I cut off their precious lives as one cuts a string. Like the many waters of a storm, I made the contents of their gullets and entrails run down upon the wide earth. Their hands I cut off." And Ashurbanipal described his treatment of a captured leader. "I pierced his chin with my keen hand dagger. Through his jaw I passed a rope, put a dog chain upon him, and made him occupy a kennel." It is no wonder Nahum called Nineveh the bloody city, chapter 3, verse 1, and a city noted for its wickedness, chapter 3, verse 19. Now, the book was written sometime between 663 and 613 BC. We know that because the conquest of No Ammon, or Thebes, in 663 BC is mentioned in chapter 3, verse 8. But Nineveh was not destroyed by Nabopolassar and his son Nebuchadnezzar until 612 BC. By the way, many other Old Testament passages refer to Assyria's fall, such as Isaiah chapter 10, verses 12 through 19, chapter 14, verses 24 and 25, chapter 30, verses 31 through 33, chapter 31, verses 8 and 9, Ezekiel 32, verses 22 and 23, Zephaniah chapter 2, verses 13 through 15, and Zechariah chapter 10, verse 11. So, Nahum's prophecy of doom and destruction was primarily addressed to the wicked city of Nineveh, but he also addressed Judah in comfort. See chapter 1, verse 12 and 15, and chapter 2, verse 2. Finally, verse 15 of chapter 1 echoes Isaiah 52, verse 7, where it refers to those who announced the deliverance from Babylon. The theme of good tidings and peace is found all throughout the pages of the New Testament, such as Luke chapter 2, verse 10, chapter 4, verses 16 through 21, Romans chapter 10, verse 15, and Ephesians chapter 2, verses 14 through 18. So, here's the outline of the book. In chapter 1, we see the certainty of God's judgment on Nineveh. In this section, we see the character of God, the judge, verses 2 through 8. And in verses 9 through 15, God's punishment stated. In chapter 2, we have the description of the siege of Nineveh. And in chapter 3, we see God's determination to destroy the city. So, the destruction of Nineveh was fulfilled as prophesied in Scripture, and it should serve as a warning to all nations that God will not be mocked. Sin will be judged, and all those that hate and come against Israel will be harshly dealt with by the one who has promised that he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Psalm 121, verse 4.